Have you seen those videos on Instagram of that beautiful wife on the farm who's staying home with the kids and baking pies and croissants and homemade noodles? She's the traditional homemaker and she's just loving it. And have you seen that? Are you a man who's seen that and thought like, God, that looks awesome. That's what I need. This is the trad wife trend. So that's what I'm talking about today. What if you're married, what if your wife fully embraced that kind of domestic role and stopped nagging you about all the emotional labor she's doing and just appreciated you being the provider and protector? What if? Welcome to the Nice Guy Show. I'm your host, Ari Graff. Today I'm joined by my co-hosts, Faisal Kokar and Chuck Chapman. Chup Chapman. And today we're going to talk about trad wives. Is this the answer for a lot of the modern problems in relationships? Do you think this would reduce divorce if we embraced it? So, before we get to those questions, what is a trad wife? A trad wife is a woman who promotes a traditional gender role for women and ide- presents in sort of like idealized domestic scenes. So I'm describing somebody who presents that way on social media. So this is getting at sort of the whole trad wife phenomenon. Is it is a social media phenomenon with influencers. But before we get to that, do you guys, does this appeal to you, having a trad wife?
Yes and no. I mean, I think there's some positives. I would say Jennifer is fairly traditional in terms of like the masculine and feminine, and enjoys the gender roles, so to speak. But she's also not like 100% um, trad wife in terms of like she still has a career. She still does her thing. But so there's part of it that appeals to it, but there's another part of it where it seems like it's pretty extreme. And anytime there's an extreme, that always tends to kind of turn me off a little bit and make me wonder what's going on underneath the hood there. Why do we have to be so extreme? But
Yeah, your wife is not in the kitchen like making homemade.
she's in the kitchen just enough. I don't know. She's a great
Is it
baker.
is
She's
is
great
that
at
based
cooking.
on is that based on the times you give her? Like, this is the time you're allowed out
Yeah,
and not. And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What about you, Faisal? Does this trad wife thing appeal to you?
I think, like Chuck said, I think there isn't an appeal to it. There's a lot of magical appeal to the traditional role. Makes it quite easy for guys to understand, and there's a fantasy where I'm the provider, I'm the protector, and then I've got the wife at home. She's just nurturing, caring, being loyal. I can see the fantasy of that. The reality, unless you are like a top, I would say 5%, 10% guy who has the economical viability of having and supporting a trad wife, yeah. But I think that there can be a lot of appeal to that. But in modern days, especially in the West, we're getting to an economical state where one person, unless he or she is doing really well, one person's salary isn't enough. I mean, if you're looking about the average, we need to have two salaries coming in. So that, again, looking at both sides, the realistic sides, yeah, fantasy wise, I will like that. But I know that the reality is it's not going to be that. How about
So
you, Ari?
there's a financial aspect to this that it's unrealistic for most families right now, unless
It is.
you're.
Yeah, I mean, you got the fantasy, but also you got the reality of it, the coherence of it. It's like, what state are we in the world where can we exercise that fantasy? For some, you can. Maybe some countries you can. I know if you go to countries where the cost of living isn't so great, that you can practice that if you're earning a good wage, especially guys abroad. I know that they've got freelance jobs abroad and they're making really good money. They can live that traditional kind of lifestyle. And the question is, do women want that as well? Do guys want that? Do you want that, Ari?
Well, it's not something that I've been pining for, to be honest. Like I like women who are intellectual. Not that a Tradwife couldn't be intellectual, um, but and I actually like women who have some ambition, and have their own career. I think that is what I prefer. Um, that's not to say that if the financial situation was right, that I wouldn't mind being the sole earner for the family. Like I'm open to that. But no, the trad wife is not like something that really calls to me. But then like I could be a sucker on Instagram, and I see like first of all, I read this New York Times article about, I think is like the premier trad wife, this woman, Hannah Nealman. So um, she married the the heir to the JetBlue Airlines fortune. So
Oh, there's hold on. Oh, okay. Continue.
right. So I don't know, like this guy's dad
So
is like
she's very much the typical trad wife. Okay.
she's yeah.
And he's a typical guy,
The typical
slugging
guy,
out,
the typical trad
cleaning.
wife. This is what everybody
Yeah,
should have. Yes.
yeah, of course.
So let me describe what it looks like. Like it's this idyllic farm in Utah. She's got like 9 children, and she's only like 32. Um,
Yeah, it's the average thing, isn't it? In central London, you've got a farm, you've got like loads of kids. Of course.
so but she actually, she's a Juilliard trained dancer. She was a ballerina, and that's why the farm is called Ballerina Farm. I feel like I'm doing an advertisement for them, but I got sucked into it. So yeah, I mean, she's like growing her own vegetables and herbs, and they're all milking cows, and she's making homemade croissants, and um it looks amazing. um I'm sure it's different from day to day, and I think the interesting thing here is that you know she and her husband have really turned this into a business. I mean, she's got 10 million followers to her Instagram. Um, and like she's got somebody who's homeschooling the kids for her, so they've clearly got some help around the house, and then they've got a social media team. So this is not a normal family situation at all. Um, but still, it has this allure, like of your wife sort of your wife providing, creating this really nurturing home environment for the kids. So I'm bringing this up because clearly this has a lot of appeal to young people, that are following her, and people like her, that people are attracted to this, and um maybe this appeals to people who are frustrated by the need for both parents to work, and kind of idealizing this situation where the mom can just be home, taking care of the family and taking care of the home. So, what do
I'm
you
just
think
scanning
for
through. I'm just
is
scanning through, guys. This will be quite interesting. So I'm just scanning through our Instagram, and it seems very, in my opinion, very egotistical. It's all about likes, shares. Hey, look at our amazing
It's
world.
very virtue signaling, kind of like this is what it, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a post on how they deal with, say, conflict resolution. I wonder if they talk about Where's the one about like boundaries? I can see things about farms. I can see things about that.
Yeah.
Where's the one talking about, hey, you know what? I had a real problem trying to be vulnerable or trying to open up about a situation and really communicated it in a way that really landed with my partner, or he did that same thing. Can't see anything about where's this part about, you know, I started to fix my husband's problems, or he started to fix my problems, and then we came to fuck this is just egotistical. So I wonder what it'd be like. See, here's my opinion about people on Instagram, is that we show a very fractured view. It's like a split view of life. And then when you see all these couples looking amazing on Instagram, it's usually hiding a lot of flaws within that. So here, this is what I would call, there's something for me. I want to see
this is
some.
like farm porn.
This is this is magical thinking porn. This is like fantasy porn. This is like, oh my god, look at our lives. I mean, if my wife was on Instagram, just fucking, just taking, can't think of the word right now, but just exhibiting herself and the world to me, I'd be like, this is more of a transactional kind of situation rather than a connective one. This is my take on it.
Well, she's not in bikinis.
Well, she's still, she's got a different type of bikini, right? So, I mean, for example, 50 Shades of Grey, there was no, it wasn't pictorial, but it was very heavy on words. So she's appealing to a different audience. I mean, 10 million? Wow.
So,
well, go ahead.
Well, do you think nice guys would be attracted to this kind of lifestyle? You know, I think this is one of the reasons I wanted to bring this on the show. You know, I think nice guys probably would want a woman who at least see, you know, like kind of has a built-in respect for you, you know, that appreciates what you bring to the table as a provider, you know, that isn't I was going to say isn't hyper online, although this woman probably is. But do you think a nice guy might be attracted to this because it's a woman who wouldn't just leave because they believe in traditional marriage?
Well, I think that what nice guys are attracted to is the ideals. You know, this is the way life is supposed to be, and when life isn't this way, that's when we get discouraged and disappointed and angry, and so I think in a way, this kind of thing, what it serves up is this ideal of like, oh, this is how life is supposed to be, and if you want to be happy, here's how you're happy. You're happy when you have these traditional roles, these traditional values. And so then, you know, people start chasing that because everybody wants to be happy. But at the end of the day, it's like, is the happiness really there? Is it coming from the internal locus of control, or is it from the likes? Is it from the followers? Is it from the, you know, constantly chasing that external validation? And so I think that, you know, in a way, there's kind of like these two topics here. There's this idea of, is traditional marriage, one man, one woman, 5 kids, a farm, you know, is that going to make me happy, or is there something else? And I think that's the thing that we all end up chasing, is this ideal of what happiness looks like. And basically what she's sort of selling on her page here is like, that, you know, look how happy we are, you know, happy, shiny people. If you guys have seen that documentary, is basically a similar kind of thing on the Duggar to different brand, but same thing, you know, reality TV show of like, look at us in our happy, shiny people. And then, you know, find out there's all this stuff kind of going on underneath after the fact.
20 kids.
Yeah.
And sexual abuse
and sexual abuse and all the other allegations and things that are going on. So those are the kinds of things that always make me pause and wonder, like I said at the beginning, is there something going on here? Now, the second piece of it is a traditional value, you know, is that going to create happiness? And the answer I think is no. Is it going to create more homeostasis? Is it going to create more balance in your life? Is it going to, are the kids going to have more attention? You know, are the parents going to be able to have more conflict resolution and communication and things of that nature? Is there more balance to it? You know, I think that's the thing that we're all longing for, is this, you know, we're all grinding, we're all trying to churn out stuff at the same time, have kids at the same time, keep our marriage alive. You know, and at the end of the day, we're just exhausted and tired and disappointed. And so somebody comes along and says, oh, this is the way to do it, and look how happy we are.
Yeah.
Easy for people to kind of follow that.
When you said about the nice guys, will they, you know, find this appealing? And I think the more feminine energy you are, the more you'll be sucked into this, because it's that, hey, look, happily ever after fantasy. Look at us. We've got the marriage, we've got the kids, we've got the farm, we've got the wealth. And it's showing that perfect side. And a lot of nice guys have this perfectionism problem. So if I get to perfectionism, then I have no negativity, I have no dark side. Everything is problem-free, smooth, easy life. And that's what she's selling. She's selling that perfectionism. I mean, I'm just reading some of the comments on it, and she's there with, you know, her kids, and some of the women put, oh my God, you guys are perfect. Right? So you guys can see that perfectionism. And I think there is a part of the nice guy, and this was part of me as well, that romantic aspect of it, who romanticizes relationships. Oh, when I get the perfect woman, then everything else is going to fall into place. I will be that happily ever after guy. So I think a lot of people who live in this romantic world, because you can see this on dating apps as well. And I see this on, you know, women's dating apps when I'm going through it. I'm looking for the one. I'm looking for that guy who's then we can grow old together. So you can see this magical thinking. Right?
Yeah.
And nice guys, because
where
nice
is
guys,
he? Have you ever seen that?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw a profile yesterday, and she said, please prove me that you're nothing like my ex. So there's like, I take screenshots of all of these comments as well, because I teach them, the guys in my coaching practice, of like things to look out for, what this means. Let's look at between the lines as well. So nice guys are really poor at reading between the lines, like what's really going on. What they do is they have really this is like in borderline personality as well. What they have is this split thinking. It's like, oh my God, it's amazing. And he's going to put that lifestyle on the pedestal. So you'll have a lot of guys putting this on the pedestal, be like, this is amazing. This is the Tradwife. Everything, when I get there, everything is going to be amazing. Or you have the other side of the split thinking. The fractured thinking is, it's horrible. It never works. Everything's wrong. All women are bad. All men are bad. So you've got the one or the other. And I think this is what social media does. It really sucks in people with high feminine energy. And nice guys are really high in feminine energy, like emotional energy. So they leave out the coherence part, which will be, actually, yeah, that's pretty good. But what's the other side? Let's integrate this and see what it'd be like on both sides of it. What am I not actually experiencing and seeing? And for me, I really struggled, and I see a lot of guys I work with struggling to see the both aspects of it. And this goes back to, you know, how they will see their parents, their mom or dad. They'll see their dad as amazing, or he was an asshole. They'll see their situations like that. They'll see one or the other.
Right. There's so many people have trouble holding good and bad about the other person in mind, as well as about themselves. You know, that they can't hold the good
100%.
and bad aspects of themselves. So you're making a really good point. And I think this is really, I mean, it is a fantasy with these influencers, because, you know, like I was reading articles about this, and, you know, they were contrasting the Tradwife with the what was the old kind of trend in like the 2010s of like the boss lady,
Mm.
the
Boss
girl
wife.
boss,
Yeah.
girl boss,
Girl, but strong, independent. That's the one.
right?
Yeah.
And so this seems almost like a trend away from the girl boss, but at the same time, this woman is a girl boss.
She's
You know,
totally a girl boss.
she's just a girl boss in like
Dressed up in traditional values.
Traditional values. You know, she's all over social media. She's got her own.
I would love it if her husband. I mean, what would the reaction be if her husband's like, I'm not okay with this anymore. You need to stop doing this, kind of thing. And she would be like submissive to that and be like, oh, of course, honey, because I'm here to, I don't know. I'm judging. I'm doing a lot of judging here based on.
Of course. I love that one.
Well, he's an influencer too.
Yeah, he's only got 600,000 though followers. I looked at his real quickly. It's like,
yeah. So imagine
he's got like a tenth of what she has.
Yeah. So imagine what would it be for their relationship? Is that okay? We had this electromagnetic pulses hitting the earth, and all electronic devices are completely shut down. That's it. For 2 years, there's no internet, nothing electric. Okay, sure, they've got the farm, they'll survive. A lot of people in the cities won't. But I wonder what would happen behind the scenes, like their mental health. Because for me, here's an opinion, and might not like this, but here's my take on it. And I'm speaking from a lot of experience here, like my experience.
I like this. This is going to cause controversy. Okay,
this will. So when a woman's, it can apply to a guy too, but when a woman's spent most of her life in showbiz, like dance, art, singing, something that puts a lot of spotlight on her. For me, I found that in my experience, because I've dated a lot of girls in showbiz, right? So they're singers, dancers, of models, all of these women. And I just found the same pattern, which was the need to be the center of attention and the spotlight. And they needed to be right in the middle of this. And some of them were very covert about it, very silent, very like misleading about it. Oh, no, that's not important to me. I just dress this low cut top because it makes me feel sexy. Yeah, sure. But what goes on behind the scene is like, wow, you're just dressing up in like a slob, but it's only when you have to get out validation, approval, then it goes up. Oh, no, it doesn't matter to me. Likes and things like that don't matter to me. So what I do now is I wonder what it would be like if you just switch off nobody can speak or hear things, but all you could do is just watch people's actions. Is that action correlates to that their ego needs feeding? So what I've done is I've observed that people whose ego need a lot of feeding, like for her, I mean, this is for me, it's all red fractured on the ego, right? So for her, she's thriving on attention. So women thrive, the feminine energy thrives on attention. It needs attention. And this, for me, women who have gone through showbiz kind of like world really thrives on that. So for her, she'd probably panic quite a bit internally, have turmoil if there was no Instagram, because I can't see a photo of her reading a book. Right. Now, I'm not saying that all women that are reading a book are gonna, but everything is like, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. So this is like a very pick me.
Do you think a real Tradwife would be on social media?
That's a great question.
Okay.
Or is that a weird question for 2025 when everybody's on social media?
Okay, here's a better question. Would you want a woman who's on social media?
Well, like for instance, I'm looking at this Hannah woman. Like, to me, like that, if that was my wife, oh my God, I would die. It cringe. Like I know that is a complete turn off to me. I don't want any of that. I mean, yeah, she's pretty and all of that, but that does not appeal to me at all. But a traditional wife, somebody who's like, yeah, she wants to make a beautiful home, and she, like, and I've said this before. If you go outside my office door out here, we have our dining room, and on the dining room is this amazing centerpiece, flowers, and it changes all the time depending on the seasons. I don't touch that. That is not me. That is my wife. She brings beauty into the house. And that's what I love about the traditional aspect of it, is that she brings beauty into the house. She's not showing it off on Instagram or trying, she's not doing it for anybody else but for me and the people that come into our house, and for her. That, to me, yeah, I like that. That makes my life a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, she's not out there trying to, raise chickens and be a farmer either.
Well, what about you, Ari? Is that what would you? How about if you were dating or wanted to get invested with a girl who was a social media sucker?
Yeah, I don't. I have mixed feelings about it. It depends on what their relationship to it is. I mean, if it's part of her business life, or career, I get it. If it's just about getting attention, you know,
Can be both.
and
Can you convert? Say, well, I'm getting attention, getting hot. I can set up an OnlyFans page because, well, I might as well capitalize on my attention. And then sell you the. Here's the thing about nice guys, right? They're easily sucked into really substandard kind of behaviors and really easily manipulated. Nice guys are really naive. And I say this about nice guys because I'm talking to myself as well, right? Like for me too, like I was obsessed with social media as well because I wanted that connection and attention too. So there's a real needy part of me, and I was trying to convince the world. I was trying to convince myself. Actually, you know what? I'm doing this because it helps my business. Well, no, it doesn't. So now I'm using social media to be more effective and to be purposeful rather than trying to garner connection or attention, because that's all it was. I mean, social media, that's all it's doing, is it's just soothing and giving attention to the ego. That's my opinion. I mean, if you have a channel where nobody actually sees you, that might be a different ball game.
yeah, but
But then that wouldn't really be social media.
Well, social media isn't really social, is it? It's just
No, it's not.
Yeah, you're just sucking up content and you're making up content just for these content companies to get rich. That's what you're doing. You're just a slave to it. And for me, she looks like a slave to social media. I mean, ego's made her slave. To me,
I mean,
for me,
it's a
that
business.
would be
They're selling products. She's got her
Yeah.
own. She's got her own, like, food products. I think probably beauty products that so they're making money off of this.
They're selling a lifestyle, and that's, I think, the thing that, whether the lifestyle is that of the rich and famous or the traditional, farmland or whatever. There's this idea of lifestyle. If I find the right lifestyle, then I'm going to be perfectly happy and content for the rest of my life. And I think it's that chasing of perfect, happy, the
perfection. Yeah.
perfection that creates this, you know, juxtaposed of just as much depression and darkness behind the scenes. This last summer, my wife and I, we traveled to Peru, and one of the places we went to was Machu Picchu. And while we were there was this family, and this woman was obviously, she's probably in her 30s or something like that. She has two little kids, a little boy, little girl, both blonde, blue-eyed kind of things. And she's in this sort of perfect outfit, and her husband's standing there, and he looks kind of like a Ken doll or something. And but you could tell like she's an influencer. I didn't try to find her anything, but she was out there like doing all these selfie shots with her and her family. And she's like trying to get the kids to sit still, and then she's yelling at the kids, like, come over here. And then she's like in front of the camera, all happy and smiley and everything. And I was sitting back and watching it. And it's like, I can just imagine these posts that she has, these perfectly curated little posts of her and her family on Machu Picchu and the beauty surrounded by all of the Peruvian, culture and history, and she's there in her little flower dress, doing this little waving thing with her, trying to get a special effect going, I guess, with her phone. And I thought it was kind of sad, because then
And
she
guess
really
what?
would.
And
Yeah.
what happens after the photo's taken?
Yeah,
I've spent time with women who have a lot of followers. I had a girl I knew, she had like 200,000 followers, and it was all based on the way she looked. And behind the scenes, their life is so fucking boring and miserable. Everyone thinks, oh, look at these women, they must be, life's great for them. Not really, because if you look behind the scenes, I'm saying guys as well, it's not just women, but people who get sucked into that ego world, behind the scenes, what are they doing? I mean, people are going travel photos. Hey, look at me. I'm here. I'm traveling this is amazing. But behind the scenes, all they're doing is they're eating their food and they're constantly on their phone.
I know it was reminding when you were talking about Machu Picchu. I went there a few years ago too with a small tour. It was all people in their 30s and 40s, and there's a specific ledge at Machu Picchu where everybody wants to get their that it's that Machu Picchu money shot.
Yeah,
It's
I know what you're talking about.
you know where
there's like a line of people waiting to get their shot. Yeah.
And there was a woman on the tour who she didn't get that shot, and then it was time to leave, and she was having she had like a meltdown, like a literal meltdown, and we had to stop, and the tour guide had to get her over to that spot so she could get her shot, and it was just like, really, yeah, people. I mean,
how spiritually poor is that? I mean, you think about it. Were you? Did you enjoy the moment? No, I would have. I hated the moment. Yeah, I hated the moment because I missed the perfect shot. But if you looked at someone who's, as I'm growing my own healing my own spiritual fracture, it would have been, actually, I missed the photo, but you know what? The memory, the moment, being present in that moment was more important. So when you have very egotistically fractured individuals, but this is so spiritually poor that it's like, I would be miserable because I missed a shot. And that would have been her imprint of Machu Picchu. That would have been an imprint. That would have been her memory. It was like, I missed the perfect shot. I've got no validation. I've got nothing to show you of that amazing moment. And all I have is just this bitter memory of Machu Picchu. How fucking sad is that?
The photo of this woman versus the chaos that she created trying to get the shot and having her meltdown and having to have
her
all
meltdown
of
is part of my memories of Machu Picchu.
You ruin it. Well, maybe it's just a good lesson. I say, like, sometimes I take my kids out to, there are all these kids who want to take photographs and put it. I'm like, listen, guys, you do realize you can get the same image on Google Images. So save yourself the hassle, save the battery, and let's just enjoy it. And when I go out, and I remember we did a Morocco trip. So it was one of the most wonderful Morocco trips, right? In that one, I took some photos. I got some really nice photos, but I also balanced it out. Again, it's the integrated part was no phone. Absolute pure presence in there. So you're not saying go one or the other, because in modern world it's really impossible to do. But again, it's that as the Stoic says, have that temperance. One of the virtues of Stoicism is temperance, is in that balance. So imagine if you could just bring that balance in, and it's like, yeah, sometimes I'll have a photo, sometimes I won't capture it. And it's okay. I can still enjoy life, and I can still tell a story without it ever being captured. I mean, this is what people did in the 80s.
The 80s is ancient times. It's
like good old days.
My nieces call that the black and white era. I don't know why. I mean, I take photos sometimes just for me, or like to show my family or friends. Like, I don't have to put them on social media.
Or would you stop the bus to get it?
I wouldn't stop the bus. So I think we've gotten off track. Thanks, guys. But do you think this Tradwife fantasy appeals to women? Do you know any women who want this, or who are living this way?
Yes. There are some women I was this Friday I was observing this woman that so I play poker in this poker club, and one of the guy who runs it has this assistant, and she just makes sure that looks after all the guys, and she's this Eastern European girl or lady, and during the break she would make sandwiches, she would make like toasties, she'll cut up some fruit. And the way she's doing that, it's like you can tell she really enjoys that. She really enjoys nurturing, and she'll just ask, "Does anyone want tea? Does anyone want water? Does anyone want this?" And the way she does that, she does this with this graceful energy, this nurturing, warm, loving energy. I think she's only like 30 years old or something like that. So you can tell when she's in that, she kind of like really lights up, and you
She
can
is being paid,
feel
right?
she is being paid, but she does. There's a lot of people who get paid and do with, I don't know, anger, or is it not anger, but they do with like gruntfully, or like, oh, do I have to? It's like an inconvenience, cutting up stuff, and she doesn't have to cut this up. She makes a real art of the fruit. She's putting a lot of passion and energy into this. Otherwise, someone, like you see my kids cut up fruit. It's like, oh my God, it's like a mess in here. But she's cutting up with like, right? So yeah, I think speaking to Eastern European women as well, I've dated quite a few Eastern European women, and they love the traditional roles. They say, I want a traditional man. I want to be the traditional woman. I want to go out and I want to feel like a woman. So you lead, you plan, you be the masculine role. I'm happy to sit as a traditional woman.
And they want to be a homemaker. They want to submit
They
to
want
their.
to be the home. Yeah, it's like you earn the money, you provide, and they get offended by right, you not doing your masculine role. For some women, it's an offense. It's like I love it when the man opens the door for me. I love it when he takes care of me. I love it when he brings me flowers. I love being looked after. Why? Because and this is things that women have told me. It makes me feel like a woman. It makes me feel sexy. It makes me feel seen. Right? It makes me feel feminine. It makes me feel safe. Right? And women say, what kind of women don't want, I mean, these women, not all, but what kind of women doesn't want a man opening the door for you? It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? I like dressing up for my man. I like dressing up. I mean, some of these women were very conservative in dressing. I like dressing up in frocks and dresses and, this parts of me that only my man can see. It's not open to anybody else. I don't want to be interacting and connecting with other guys. Some are very traditional.
I think there's also this, when you try to put everybody into one spot. So if you say women, and this meaning all women, that all women want this particular thing. And I think there's a spectrum, right? I mean, there's going to be people on the other side of the spectrum. There's going to be certain women who want it, and there's going to be certain women who don't want it. And then, and depending on where your spectrum is on your own masculinity, maybe something you want or don't want. I think the thing here is that instead of telling people like, this is the way to do it, this is the way to happiness, it's more of like encouraging people to find like what works for them, and if a traditional traditional marriage works for you, and that's something that actually brings you happiness and joy and contentment, go for it, but that doesn't also mean that like that's going to work for everybody. And I think we kind of get into a problem when we start talking about like generalities of, everybody needs to do this, or everybody needs, all relationships should be this traditional way, or all women should be boss wives, or, whatever. That as people, we all have different flavors and likes and dislikes. And at the end of the day, it's like, if this woman is happy in her life, she's truly happy and she's having a great time, more power to her. God bless her, you know?
I think that's where some of the critique comes from of trad wives, is that it's part of a movement in the culture to oppress women. That certain maybe conservative influencers or people are promoting this idea that women just belong in the home, and that's the answer for everyone. So I think the feminists have a natural reaction to that, that this is going to take away women's rights, women's choice. So I think there's a real reaction to this.
Well, it would be like if we said all men should make $500K a year. If you're making less than $500K, you're not a man. And all of a sudden it puts this mark, or this idea of like, hey, what success is. And so one person defining what this success is, then, and if you don't meet this benchmark, then you're not, a woman, you're not a man, you're not, so I think that that's the part where you're always going to get pushback from that. I've seen a lot of more traditional male influencers that are like, yeah, if you're not making, $300K a year, if you're not providing for your wife, if you're not doing all of this kind of stuff, if you're not the man, then you're not a man, and that to me is just kind of like that's a turnoff from, in terms of like some other guy telling me what I'm supposed to do to be a man. And so, yeah, anyway, I'm kind
I
of
agree.
rambling here.
No, it's true. It's true. Every one man's food is another man's poison,
Yeah.
and so everyone's going to have a different version for what's compatible with them. So for me, going through my own journey, going through my own arc, first of all, I was brought into the feminist view of like, yeah, women are this amazing idyllic thing, and the guy serves her completely. And then I'm like forever the yes man, the people pleaser, which is a complete turn off for women. And then I went to the other side, which was the masculine feminine role. So like, I want a totally feminine woman. I'm going to be the totally masculine in that. And then I did meet some women who were very feminine, and I got really frustrated with it. I was like, sometimes I just want to have a different, logical, coherent kind of like conversation. For her in the feminine world wasn't like, we weren't connecting on that. Later on, as I went through different relationships, different styles, what I found was actually for me a really good balance. So for me, it's a good balance between I have my masculine and feminine. She has our masculine and feminine too. So there's part of her that I don't want a complete traditional wife. I do want a partner who would, do something in the world, whether it's in the community, whether it's not just sitting at home and just looking after the home itself. I think sometimes anybody just at home can get bored and neurotic as well. So I do want a balance where they can keep a balance where they feel like, okay, this is a net positive for me. And it gives me a good balance of, being able to have my network, my connections, my own creativity. Because I think one of the things about feminism was that there were women who had this creative part who said, actually, I don't want to raise children, but I have this ability in science or maths or something like that. I want to be able to express that because there's some creative stuff that I can bring to the world. So that feminism really helped women to be able to express that side. I think where it's gone completely off balance is when we are told what to do rather than trying to figure out what's really aligned with us, compatible with us, and also brings us most contentment. It's like one of the 5 C's, the 5th C I teach is about finding your contentment. It's like, what will bring you peace in relationships, in your own life, in your own work, in your own parenting? What is that? And you have to find that, where that wall, where that boundary is. So rather than being dictated by anybody else, like it has to be this way, it's like, what is it for you? Where do you find your your what I call your hum? You got to find that hum of yours where you just like feel at peace.
Your hum. Okay.
Your hum, like your hum.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. What are the other 4 C's?
So the first, so this is the nice guy recovery, like 5 areas that guys can really work on. The first one is composure. So you really got to get into a more grounded nervous system. I envy guys who have a very natural, composed, relaxed nervous system. For me, that's not my default, so I have to work extra hard on this. So guys who lose their balance, get imbalance, lose their shit, lose their frame control, take things really personally and over exaggerate things, blow things out of proportion. So that's number one. You got to really fix that. Once you have a nervous system is relaxed, it doesn't feel unsafe, then you work on your confidence, which is your mindset. So you work on the second C, which is healing the ego fracture. So the ego is the one that wants a lot of validation, approval, wants to be liked, doesn't feel enough. So it's always trying to do a lot. It really strives on perfectionism. So that's the second one. The third C is connection, being actually learning how to connect. For me, when my coach started helping me, like he said, Faisal, you don't actually connect. You can have a conversation, which is on a very logical level, but you're not actually connecting. So he taught me like the principles of connecting, which was like, oh, okay, this is how you learn to listen, take taking what they're saying without you worrying so much about, am I going to be liked, what they're thinking of me? Because as soon as you get into those modes of thinking in a connection, you're not actually connecting. You're just really consumed by yourself. Fourth C is chemistry. So you got to be able to create chemistry. It's not just sexual chemistry, but it also with friends and people. Because if you're really dull and boring, you're going to be Mr. Nobody. You're going to be unforgettable. So I take the guys through the 5 Cs. It's really easy to work on because when you're working, there's so much information today. So I just have 5 little boxes you got to work on.
I like that. Your 5 Cs. So men should be working on their 5 Cs instead of just focusing on some fantasy. They got to work on themselves. I mean, I think that's one of the take homes today. That there's no substitute for working on yourself and your clarifying what's important to you. Baking your own cake, not looking for your wife to bake all the
cake for you.
cakes. Yeah.
Hey, some guys
And
love baking. Some guys love baking. And I'm sure there are some of those masculine teachers. Oh, that's such a feminine thing. You shouldn't be doing that.
Men were, I mean, traditionally men were the bakers and the cooks and the chefs and yeah. So
Yeah, there were. But if you're doing that at home, they're like, well, that's not that's. I've heard so many things about guys getting shamed for.
yeah. And it goes back to like if somebody's telling you what their version of whatever is masculinity, femininity, whatever, they're putting on you their ideal. That's just a projection. And I think that, that's a very shaming way to be. Like if you want to bake, bake. If you want to chop wood, chop some fucking wood, but don't tell me what I have to do in order to be a man. Show me.
if you want to make pottery, you could still be a man.
You want to make pottery, you can be a man. You can be a man's man making pottery. I'll tell you.
Well, I guess the rule one of it is, do I have to be told what to do? I mean, I think that's a really strong part. It's like, I'm going to listen to me more than anybody else. It doesn't mean I won't take feedback from anybody else, but I govern me. I lead me rather than being led by influencers or anybody else.
Influencers would be another good topic for the show.
Yeah.
But we'll save that for another day. So if you're listening to this episode I'd love feedback. Are you someone who wants a trad wife, who is attracted to that lifestyle? If you're a woman, are you a trad wife? Does any of that appeal to you, or does it repel you? Once again, thanks for being part of the Nice Guy Show. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe. Or if you're on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.